Now DJI just released this new gimbal right here, which is the Osmo Mobile 5 or OM5. And as you can see here, I don't have version 1, but I do have the Osmo Mobile 2. This is the Mobile 3, OM4. That's when they kind of changed the name to OM. And then now we have the new and latest and greatest from DJI, the OM5. And it's just good to see that something like this has evolved into something like this, which is now, I would say, a lot more pocketable, a lot more easy to carry, even compared to last year's Osmo Mobile or OM4. Now, even though they came out with this magnetic design on the OM4, it wasn't that much smaller than the OM3. And I think just being it's supposed to be compact, portable, pocketable, they definitely had to go back to their drawing board, and they did with the new OM5. With the new OM5, they still are using the magnetic system right there, just like the OM4, but as you can see, way smaller and way lighter than the previous version. And of course, speaking of weight and how much they've evolved, as you can see, this is the OM2. This was 486 grams. This is the OM3, and they got a little bit lighter and smaller. This one's 410 grams. And when we jump over to the OM4, they didn't really change much on the handle design. They just introduced this new magnetic system here and brought the weight down a little bit. The OM4 is 391 grams, but they definitely made a big change on the OM5. This is only 295 grams. So about 100 grams less than the previous model here. There's also one big change on here that we'll also talk about, and that is this right here. The ability to now extend your handheld gimbal a little bit further away from you. DJI has put in a new 215 millimeter extension rod. So if you did want to get into some different angles, or if you just wanted to have a little bit better selfie positioning, you are now able to put the extension rod out and now control your gimbal from a little bit further distance away. And if you guys are new to my channel, my name is Aldrin Anastasio. I do a lot of drone tech tips, tutorials, and product reviews right here on this channel. So if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing and also hitting that bell to be notified when I post new videos. And before we jump into the new features of the OM5, let's quickly unbox it, show you what comes in this kit. Got some instructions on how to use the magnetic clamp here on the inside of the box. Quick start guide right in the very top. And here is this one right here. So DJI actually has two different colors of the OM5, which is really nice. This one is more, I would say, of a kind of an off-white, but the whole thing is white, or whole thing is the same color. Then they also have one that's more of a two-tone color. And once you open up this box, it also comes with a carrying case, the clamp, the tripod. So with the quarter 20 here at the very bottom, wrist strap. Depending on what phone you have, you might need a little bit extra space. This is called a riser pad. Cord, USB-C to USB. Now for those that haven't used a DJI gimbal before, they introduced this new magnetic clip here on the last model, the OM4. Now by having this detachable magnetic clamp, it makes it easier for you to transport this around so you don't have a fixed clamp on the actual gimbal itself. And to install it, pretty straightforward because these open up just like that. So all you have to do is wrap it on one side of your phone to the other side. Make sure it is nice and centered. I normally just put it dead center just like that. Place it right in it just like so. And once it's in there, all you do is power it on. Power button is right here. Press and hold that and let it sit. And there you go. But there it is. Now you can actually do a vertical mode. It launches in vertical mode. And if you wanted to go into that horizon or horizontal mode, button on the very bottom right, just double click that. And now you are in horizon mode. Now with this new ergonomic handle, they did actually remove one thing. There was one thing I did notice on the OM4, which was the full-size USB, which they were using to charge your phone. So you don't actually have that plug anymore that you did before. So if your battery was going low on your phone, you were able to actually charge your phone with that port. They removed it here. They still have the USB-C for you to actually charge the gimbal, but I think that was the only thing that was really different from the OM4. On the very front, we do have the joystick, so you're able to adjust the angle of your gimbal. On the top right, once you're connected to the DJI Mimo app, all you have to do is press record, and you can actually press record and also change your zoom functions right here. So you don't actually do it on the phone itself. Once you're hooked up to the app, you're able to pretty much perform a lot of the actions directly here on the handle itself. Sometimes the gimbal will just be at some awkward angles. All you have to do is double tap and it'll then recenter. So what makes this extension very useful is that reason right there. All I have to do is pull this out, tilt this thing, and there's another little hinge right here for you to tilt your camera just like that. And now I can actually hold this away from me a lot further. I can still have full control of the joystick right here, so I am able to adjust the angles. And the great thing is with the software, with Activetrack, I can actually track myself. So if I am looking around and moving around, the camera will still follow me. I know with a lot of phones, the back camera is where everyone has the powerful cameras, the wide angle lenses, but that front camera really hasn't changed much in the past few years. So having the ability to now put it out a lot further away from you, you're able to get a lot wider and more people in your shot. And what's really nice is that you're still able to use the gimbal as it's meant to be used. As you can see here, full stability, moving up and down just like that. And I can still actually hold the trigger down. So if I don't want it to tilt, I can actually hold the trigger down and move it up and down just like that. And the camera actually stays flat. Let go and it'll move again with it. Now, while a lot of the newer phones these days have some pretty good built-in image stabilization, I'm still using an iPhone X, which is a few years old, which isn't as good as some of these newer ones. And I know a lot of people still have a lot older phones than this, which means if you want to smooth out your footage, you're going to want to look into something like this, a 3-axis motorized gimbal. Now, when it came to some of the stabilization tests, of course, I did my own, but I actually wanted my son to do it because he's not too familiar with using gimbals. So here's a few side-by-side clips of him using without a gimbal as well as with a gimbal, walking as well as jogging. Now, just like a lot of the other DJI products, such as the Osmo Pocket, as well as the Action, it uses the DJI Mimo app. So quickly, I want to go through the app, just kind of click around and show you what all the features are. So if you are new to the Mimo app, at least you'll know that once you launch it, you kind of have a better understanding of what features are in there, what you're able to do, and what the app actually looks like. Now, Activetrack is well known, of course, if you're using drones or using the Osmo Pocket and all the other DJI products, they always use Activetrack. And then what Activetrack really does is that all you have to do is draw a box around your subject. So if I'm just gonna do one around myself right now, switch this over to auto, and I will draw a box around me. And Activetrack is basically going to do that. It will track you wherever you are. And what I've noticed with Activetrack, even 4.0, it definitely is a lot better than 3.0. But there are some times that if I'm shooting a little further away, and I tried shooting my kids at a skate park or at a bike park, and they're a little bit further away, it did lose them every once in a while, mainly because I think I was just kind of far. But overall, Activetrack 4.0 has been really good. I did test it out in the playground, a lot of obstacles going in and out, and this is what's new with Activetrack. It is enhanced. We have the 4.0 now. Now, the very top left is that Shotguides, which I was talking about, and this thing is such a powerful tool. DJI put in a ton of work on this one because it gives you tutorials on pretty much all of these cool types of shots, and you can click through different types of places, nature, beach, city, lifestyle, and they show you what the shot looks like. And then if you click on it just like that, I'll hit apply. Now it actually shows you on the left hand side how they set up the camera. So you can see there on the top is what the shot looks like, and at the bottom there you can actually see where the Osmo is positioned. So let me go to a different one here that shows you a little bit better. So if I'm doing a selfie type of shot here, hit apply, and then now you can see here what the shot looks like up top, and then also her on the very bottom, how she's holding the OM5 and what she's doing with it. And the top right icon, if you want to switch cameras, so go from back camera to front camera, you can click that button, or you can also click the button here on the bottom right to switch the cameras there. Just press it once, it'll then switch it from back to front, and then press it again, front to back. So you can actually do that either on screen or on the handle itself. First one we have here at the very bottom is Hyperlapse. And if you're not familiar with Hyperlapse, Hyperlapse is more of like a motion time lapse. And what they also do in the app is add a little bit of blur to it. So if you're going from location to location and you're holding it nice and steady and walking from location to location, what it does is it'll automatically speed that up, add a little bit of motion blur on there. So it's a really nice transitional piece that they have in the app. Next we have this Timelapse, and Timelapse is pretty much one of the ones I would use the most, mainly because it's just an easy one to do. It gives you a lot more dynamic movement in the shots that you normally wouldn't get if you had a stationary camera. So on the very top, you can click on this and it gives you different options of how long you want your time-lapse to go, how long you want your intervals to shoot at. And for me, I like to do left to right or right to left. And basically what it does is your camera and your gimbal will position in one area, start turning all the way left to right or right to left, and it gives you a lot more dynamic movement for a time lapse instead of having a stationary shot. Next we have is dynamic zoom or Dyna-Zoom, and if you guys haven't seen these before, what it does is you move forward towards a subject or back from a subject, and as you move forward towards your subject, the background kind of compresses and moves at the opposite direction. So depending on how you're moving in and out, you can do different types of movements with the gimbal itself and get you that really cool parallax effect. Next is slow motion, and slow motion of course is slow motion for your camera. My camera only goes up to 1080p at 8 times slow-mo. In video mode, same thing. Based on your camera and your phone settings, I'm able to jump up into 4K at, I believe it's 60 frames, yeah, 60 frames a second, as well as 1080p and some of the other frame rates. Jumping over from video to photo, I don't really use photo too much in here, mainly because I'm always using the gimbal for video. But you of course have the ability to set a timer if you wanted to have a timer on there. If you go on the left hand side, you can click on the panoramic icon. You see a few different types of Pano settings here that allow you to do different types of grids. And also they have a cool function that's called Clone Me. And what it does, it'll take 3 different shots at 3 different angles. And the idea is for you to jump in every one of those shots and it'll automatically stitch it together and put you or the subject in all 3 of those frames. And last one we have here is Story Mode. And if you aren't familiar with Story Mode, it's basically a bunch of pre-made templates that's within the Mimo app itself. So depending on what you want to do, what type of energy you want, what type of edit you want, you could pick one of these story modes here, and then we'll just pretend I'm gonna select sport, click on sport, and now it's letting you know that you're gonna shoot 4 different clips. It'll tell you how long each clip will be. Got 2 seconds, 2 seconds here, 2.4 and 3.3 seconds. All you do is shoot 4 different clips at those lengths. The app will actually edit those together and also put a little soundtrack on top of it. And that way, if you wanted to post something on social media quickly, it'll be done all in the app. On the bottom right, we have gestures. So if you wanted to trigger your camera or your video to work off of gestures, so if you wanted to put this a little further away from you, all you do is press on gesture control, turn that on. Now, if you wanted to take a little selfie, so if I wanted to put this right here, and switch my camera around. Let me turn this to auto. All I have to do is put this up, and if I wanted to do and record, I just put my hand up. It'll now automatically see my hand and now start shooting a video because I'm in video mode. Gesture mode is on again. I can just turn this way, do a little gesture that way, and it should give me a little countdown. 3, 2, 1. There it is. Now if I am in video mode, I can click on this right here, which I changed earlier, my resolution as well as my frame rate, or I can go from manual. I can either shoot manual, which I am right now. My ISO is set at 100 with my shutter speed at 640, or I can click it on auto and it'll then auto adjust my exposure based on my environment. Now, when it comes to accessories, DJI only actually sent me this one right here, which is actually one I really like more than the original clip. Now, this is the original one that you would use on your phone. And like I said, if you don't have a case on it, it actually grips a little bit better. But this one right here is multi-purpose because it's not only a clip for your phone, so I can actually put it around there. Actually holds my Moment case in there pretty well. Press the button here on the very back, and now you have a selfie light. And there it is, guys. Just wanted to show you some of the new features on the OM5. Completely redesigned, so much smaller than the OM4 and all of the previous models. And of course, we have the new extension rod, which is completely new on the mobile gimbals right now. Just gives you that extra reach. And also, if you wanted to shoot those low shots, spin this around, the whole camera spins over, and now you're able to get those really low, close to the ground walking shots. So it just gives you a lot more options when you're out there in the field. Also, we have the updated Activetrack now 4.0, and the big thing I think I talked about, Shotguides. I didn't think it was that great of a feature, and all of a sudden I started using a lot of them and looking at it, and there's just a ton of work that went on behind that to put that together. So I would definitely take advantage of using Shotguides just to help you get some more creative and more dynamic types of shots. Of course, links will be down below in the video description. So if you guys are interested in the OM5 or some of the accessories I'm gonna be talking about, make sure you guys check those links down below in the video description. As always, if you guys got some value from this video, a big like would be much appreciated. Also, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos. This is Ultra Nastasio with FlytPath.com. I'll see you guys next video. Take care.